Hello and welcome to the Fighting Moose podcast. I'm your host, Jason Hendrickson. This is a podcast where I retell stories, some fictional and some historical, that can be enjoyed by people of all ages. Today, we continue our celebration of Holy Week and we read a story about Good Friday from the book Holidays and Happy Days by Hamish Hendry. Good Friday is probably one of the most noted holidays in the Christian faith. I could be wrong, but if you walk into any Catholic church, there's always a crucifix with Jesus up on this cross. When we think of Good Friday, we think of good. But Good Friday is the day that we remember the death of Jesus on the cross. But in a few days, we'll read the story of Easter Sunday, which is celebrated as the day that Jesus rose from the grave, which is much more joyous than death. Happy Easter to you and your family. Now, let's turn to today's story. I hope you enjoy. Let's begin.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Good Friday. Good Friday is the Friday before Easter, and by the Christian Church, it is regarded as one of the most sacred days in the whole year. From a very early time, it was regarded, in a special degree, as a day of fasting and mourning, because upon this Holy Friday, the crucifixion of Jesus is commemorated. In the Church of England before the Reformation, and in the Roman Catholic Church still, the church service upon Good Friday is peculiar. Everything is made to appear mournful. The priests are dressed in black. At the elevation of the host, a wooden clapper is used instead of a bell. All the glittering ornaments are removed from the altar, and the music is more than usually sad. But even more strange than that is the chief ceremony. In old times, it used to be that the priests had a figure of Christ fixed to a crucifix which they carried round the church, treated with great reverence, and ultimately buried solemnly by torchlight. Nowadays, the ceremony has been somewhat changed. On Good Friday, the crucifix in the Roman Catholic Church is placed before the altar. Then the priests, followed by the whole congregation, approach the figure upon the crucifix, creeping upon their knees, and reverently kiss its feet. This ceremony and the chanting of the Miserere have a very solemnizing effect upon all who are present. Long ago, here in England, there was an odd ceremony performed by the king upon Good Friday. This was called blessing the cramp rings. The ceremony is said to have originated in a wonderful ring, presented by a pilgrim to Edward the Confessor, and long used in Westminster Abbey as a cure for falling sickness and cramp. On Good Friday, the King of England used to go in state to his private chapel and creep humbly upon his knees towards the crucifix. Following him came the king's almoner, with a silver basin in which were a number of gold or silver rings, and these rings the king blessed. Thereafter they were given away to be used as an unfailing cure for cramp and epilepsy. In those days, everybody believed that cramp rings had the power to cure cramp, and in England today there are still a few people who so believe. You children, however, do not think of rings upon Good Friday. It is much better to think of hot cross buns. If you ask how it is that buns came to be eaten on this day, I cannot answer. All that can be said is that bread, in one or another form, has always formed part of religious observances, and it may be that the spicy buns which you eat on Good Friday are connected with a religion that is older than Christianity. All things change, you know, and even the desire for hot cross buns is not so great as it used to be when people struggled in crowds at the doors of the famous Chelsea bun houses. On Good Friday, we do not so often hear the cry, 1 a penny buns, 2 a penny buns, 1 a penny, 2 a penny hot cross buns.
Listen, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Fighting Moose podcast. Please join us next time as we read an abridged version of Notre Dame de Paris, also known as The Hunchback of Notre Dame, written by Victor Hugo. Today's music was provided by the artist Drake Stafford. For more information to download and or listen to audio or materials from all our recordings, or to contact us, please visit www.thefightingmoose.com, or you can follow links in the show notes. And as always, try and do a random act of kindness every day.
Whoop! Shark attack, nom 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 nom. Jellyfish, pan sandwich, turkey, snowman, dolphin, helicopter, last supper, monkey in a zoo. What? Gear shift.